Welcome to the Fitmama podcast, where it's all about gaining your health back as a busy woman and mom, and doing it without sacrificing time with your family or business. Here is your host, mompreneur and Fitmama health coach, Angela Campbell.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Let's talk about meal prep. Today's live training is all about meal prep. I know a lot of you have questions wrapped around this very topic. And I know often people tend to hold themselves back. They don't meal prep because they feel like it's a little overwhelming. They feel like they don't know where to start. They don't like to cook. There's so many factors I think that hold people back. So say hi if you are hopping on live. I'm just double checking myself. I'm using my new phone, my new light, my new desk. So I'm like, I'm always paranoid when I'm using new stuff. I'm like, is this working? Can you hear me? So definitely somebody say hi whenever you're able to, and just let me know that you can actually hear me. So how do I meal prep for success without feeling overwhelmed is what I want to talk about today. Thank you guys. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jen. Again, I'm always paranoid that you're not gonna be able to hear me when I'm using new stuff. So today's podcast, that's what it's about. And here's the biggest thing too. I have a full guide and that has actually a little bit more than what I'm going to talk about it, as well as a couple recipes. If you want the guide, put guide in the comments and I will send it to you so that you have it. You just drop guide below, and I'll do that once I hop off. But here's the thing, I want to talk about meal prepping. So if you have specific questions about this while I am live, drop them in the comments below and I will answer them while I'm here, or I can always come back later. If you're catching this on a replay, like I know a lot of people will either live streamed in the group, or if you're catching this on the actual podcast when it's uploaded later, get in our group for one. Go to acfitmama.com/Facebook and join it. But if you're in here, definitely engage and let me know what questions you have. So many people hold themselves back from meal prepping, right? If you already meal prep, say me in the comments. If you don't meal prep because maybe you're confused, you don't know where to start, you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't like to cook, you can't find time to do it, then put don't, just the word don't in the comments. I'd love to see the difference. I highly recommend learning how to meal prep. And that's why I want to do this video, because if you are on a journey to feel better, function better, or even look better, to lose weight, you can benefit big time if you meal prep. Okay, but I feel like just like the whole world of losing weight in general, or feeling better, or all the things, it's overcomplicated. So my biggest goal with anything that I ever do or teach or share with the women that are going through my programs is to simplify the process. You guys, we have to get back down to basics. And that's the approach I love to use on anything I do. So that's the approach I'm also going to use right here today on meal prepping. So if you're feeling lost and confused on where to start, what to prep, all the things, this is for you. And again, share comments below if you don't know them, or comments below. Share questions below if there's something specific that you want me to get answered for you, and I totally will, right? And so if you hold yourself back, I will admit, and I've admitted this many times before, I don't like to cook. I hate to cook. Ugh. If you love to cook, put love in the comments. If you hate it like me, put hate below. I don't like to cook. I just don't. It's not my thing. I could find the time. I find the time to meal prep, but I use a lot of these things that I'm going to talk to you about today, right? And some of the biggest things that you have to do in order to meal prep. But if you want to feel better, function better, look better, lose weight this year, meal prep, okay? But here's some of the biggest things. Meal prepping 101. Let's get down to it. I love it. Meal prepping for 75% vegetarian. Cancel, deny. I love that you love to cook. And so here's the thing. First tip of all things, if you're trying to meal prep, you need to you want to always have a balanced menu, right? And what does that even mean? Most people are like, balance, what does it even mean? I don't even know what balance is in my entire life. That's a struggle. It's a struggle to find balance in everything we do in our life, right? But meal prepping will take a lot of stress away from all that. If you are currently, kind of a side note here, if you're currently constantly stressed over what am I supposed to eat, when am I supposed to eat, what am I supposed to do, how am I supposed to lose weight, how am I supposed to feed my family, where am I going to go today for lunch, you got to start meal prepping. And so the first tip that I'm going to share with you about meal prepping is you want to have a balanced plate. You want to have a balanced menu. Okay. And what does that even mean? This is where people tend to get a little bit lost. You want to think of your protein. What is your protein? If you have a favorite protein you love to cook, drop it in the comments below, right? You need to have a protein. You need to have your veggies. Guys, just like our parents told us as we were kids, you got to have your little veggies. We have to have some servings of our veggies, you guys. You want to have healthy carbs and some healthy fats. Okay, now if you're on a different style of diet, I teach the lifestyle habit approach. If you're new to this group, I don't cut out your carbs. I know a lot of people are scared to death of carbs, and I'll be the first one to tell you, don't be scared. Carbs are your friend, and if you want to truly function better and feel better and lose weight, but actually keep it off long term, don't cut out your carbs 100%. But if you're following something that is that thing, then it's working for you, stick to it. I will not preach you to cut out your carbs. So First thing, when you are writing out your menu to meal prep, think balanced. What does that mean? You need a protein, you need a carb, you need some healthy fats, and you need some veggies. Get some greens in there, ladies. Even if you don't like greens, soul search. You need some greens. If not, learn to supplement, right? Like I have a greens powder that I put in. I like greens, but I do struggle getting it a long time, so I have a greens powder that I actually use. Happy to share info on it if you want. But the first tip, think balanced. When you're writing your menu out, balance. Okay, plan ahead is tip number 2. You got to plan. Well, hello, I'm meal prepping. That's planning. I mean, even plan your meal prep. Okay, so you don't want to just go into your kitchen and think, okay, what am I going to prep? What am I going to cook? Because it's time. Right now is my time to cook. What if you didn't plan what you're going to cook? You're going to have even more stress added to your plate. Don't do that to yourself. Take stress off of your plate by simply planning, okay? So plan ahead. What do I mean? So sit down, whatever day works best for you. That's up to you to figure out, right? I can't tell you what exact day to go write your plan. You figure out what works best for you. What day am I gonna prep? I love Sundays. Sundays are a prep day for me. Okay, and that's usually when I plan my prep, what I'm gonna do, and then I actually do it, right? But I plan it first. Why? Because you need groceries, okay? So figure out what you're going to cook that week and plan it. Write it down. What am I gonna cook for my lunches? What am I gonna have for my snacks? What am I gonna make for my dinners? What am I gonna do for my breakfasts, right? I want you to spend 10 minutes, whatever day of the week, is before your grocery shopping, and plan out what it is you are going to cook. That's going to be step 1, right? You have to plan it, write out what you're going to do, make yourself a little grocery list, and then go grocery shopping by your list, okay? Now that's kind of a few tips in one, but if you plan out your meals, then write yourself a grocery list. I know this sounds very elementary, but you guys, these are things that I see so many people having trouble doing. So plan it. Write a list, go grocery shopping for the food that is on your list, okay? How many of you guys actually do online shopping? Do you online shopping or do you go in person? Share below. Do you do online? Do you do in person? I highly recommend, if you're able to do online, where you shop and then pick it up, or maybe it's delivered to you. I don't know. I know a lot of people, and not because of all the COVID and all the stuff going on in the world, but if you love to go in person, Dana, that's awesome. I typically have been doing a lot of in person, but I'm going back to online. Why? Because I always spend too much money when I go shopping in person. That's more of a discipline thing, right? Or most of us tend to find foods that we don't necessarily need, that is not on my plan if we go shopping and we go up and down the aisles, right? So save yourself some money and some time and some temptation if you can do it online. If you prefer in person, you have to do you and what works best for you. But shop by your list is going to be the biggest tip there. Shop by your list. I'm going to tempt you at times of weakness when you're at home. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, right? That's a given, right? Okay. Here's my biggest tip when it comes to meal prepping. Don't overcomplicate it and don't overthink it, and don't feel like you have to meal prep every single meal for the week. One of the biggest mistakes I used to always make is oh my gosh, I have to cook my breakfast, I have to cook my lunch, I have to cook my snacks, I have to cook my dinners. I would do that and I would spend a lot of time doing it, but guess what happened by the end of the week? I would waste a lot of food and I was throwing a bunch of stuff away. Okay, so the worst thing that you can, I don't know if it's necessarily the worst, but one of my biggest recommendations is think of the meals that you struggle with the most. When are those meals in your day where you know that you tend to fall off if you don't have it prepped, right? So what do I mean by that? For me, lunches. Sorry, my husband keeps texting me and it's distracting. I'm on a video, babe. Anyway, so back to that thought. Don't feel like you have to meal prep every single meal. If you like to cook your dinners fresh for your family, like that's what I do. I don't meal prep dinners because I know I'm going to cook something fresh for my family. My family's not big on leftovers. But if you also enjoy that time, you know, your family not necessarily going to eat your meal prep foods, but because you want to feed your family, then don't worry about meal prepping dinner, but figure out what meals are the ones that you struggle with most with your discipline or your time restraints. Usually that's lunch and snacks for a lot of people. That may not be you, but majority of women that I work with, if they don't have their lunches prepped, that's when they tend to either get so busy that they skip, or get so busy they end up just going through either a drive-through or getting something delivered or whatever the scenario is. So my biggest recommendation is lunch and snacks at least, and just meal prep those. If you're new to meal prepping and you're not currently doing any meal prepping at all, then start with 1 or 2 meals. Like start with lunch and your snacks. And that's it. Just meal prep those and then see how the week goes. And if you realize how good you're feeling, then you can always, take it a step further and maybe start prepping, more meals. But the biggest mistake I see is people trying to meal prep all 5 days or maybe 7, and then you end up wasting a lot of food, and then there goes money. You feel like you're throwing money in the trash can, and like there's a whole other problem in that department. But cook the meals you need is the biggest point of what I'm trying to say. Cook the meals you need. Do not feel like you have to cook every single meal. Big mistake. Just baby steps. Just like anything else in life that I personally recommend, baby steps on everything. This is one of them. If you like your dinners, here's one of the big game changers I know for a lot of women. If you want to cook your dinners fresh for your family, the biggest and best thing that you can do, don't necessarily meal prep them, but plan them. How many of you guys plan your dinner? Plan dinners in the comments. I would love to see if anybody plans it. There's some women that are going through our programs that dinner was a struggle because it was a constant, like, it's a rat race. You're at work all day, and then you go pick up the kids, and then you go home, and then it's 20,000 things being pulled at you, and then like, oh my gosh, I gotta cook dinner too. What am I gonna cook? The worst thing you can do when it comes to dinner is wait till dinner to figure out what you're gonna cook. Okay, so maybe not meal prepping, but planning your dinners can be a really big game changer for you and also relieve a lot of stress for you. You tend to make bad choices. We all do, we're human. If you just wing it and you're showing up to the stove at dinner thinking, what am I gonna cook? So maybe don't maybe don't prep it, but actually plan it out. Okay, I would love to know if anybody else plans out their dinners already. So cook the meals you need, plan what you're gonna make for dinner, even if you're not necessarily prepping it. Those are some of the biggest game changers for a lot of the women that we work with. Now, when you go to actually prep, when you're going, like you're in your kitchen, you've got your ingredients, you've done your shopping, you've got your map out that you know what you're gonna do. One of the best things you can do first when you are planning or when you're starting to prep and cook is cook some of the meals that you're most familiar with. So if there's things that you do regularly, I know there's some things, and at the end of this, I'm gonna share with you like some actual ideas, like what are some specific foods I can cook. All of these tips are great, Angela, but what can I actually cook? I'm gonna share some of those in a minute, I promise. But one of the biggest things too is when you are familiar with certain foods and you're not having to actually go by a recipe and trying to figure out how in the heck am I going to cook this, pick some of the things that you are the most familiar with and cook those first. Hey, Echo, what's up, girl? So cook those first and knock them out. Like just go through them. I do that a lot whenever I'm using my Instapot. I love my not Instapot. You can use an Instapot if you have one. I use the quick cooker from Pampered Chef. It's awesome. I love it. It like literally, I turn my dial to chicken, turn it on, and it's cooking my chicken. So cook your meals that you're most comfortable with first. Cook 3 to 4 days at a time. I already talked about this a little bit, but I don't recommend meal prepping 5, 6, 7 days of food. Like that's a lot. Now, if you're someone that can do that and actually freeze some of your food so it stays good, awesome, kudos to you. I don't like my food frozen and then thawed back out. It doesn't taste good to me. So you do you if that works for you. My biggest recommendation on when you are meal prepping, prep 3 to 4 days. But not necessarily more than that because you will end up wasting it. Like I said already, like I used to do that a lot, 5, 6, 7 days of food. I threw a lot of it away and then I would beat myself up because I'm like, dude, I just wasted a lot of food and a lot of money going right there in the trash because I didn't need it. So 3 to 4 meals at a time is awesome. How about multitask? There's some things in life you should never multitask. But to me, when it comes to meal prepping, multitask like crazy. Ladies, we naturally multitask. To me, meal prepping is one of the areas in your life you should multitask. Okay, so this is what also speeds it up. Like if you haven't seen, there's a video in the unit section here that I did meal prepping in 35 minutes or less. Like I prepped all my lunches and snacks in 35 minutes or less. Why? Because I multitask like crazy. So I will go into the kitchen and I'll start one thing. I'll get my quick cooker started, throw all my ingredients in there for my chicken, get it going. And that 30 minutes later, my chicken's done. But I start that and then I will go get whether I'm using a rice cooker or whatever it is I'm doing. And I will start that next because I know those things take time to cook, right? And then I'll throw my veggies. I'm quick, you guys. I'm all about simple. Veggies, however you want to cook your veggies. I love frozen veggies that I throw in the microwave, turn it on for 5 minutes. They're frozen. That means they're typically sodium free. And they're good, they taste good, and they take 5 minutes. Okay, so go check out that video if you didn't yet, or I can tag you in it as well too. But multitask. All good, Star. You can definitely catch some of this on replay. I'm getting into the good stuff, I feel like now. But again, like I said, multitask. Go start multiple things at a time in the kitchen that you know you're gonna prep. Okay, and one of my favorite things to do when I say multitask, I'm gonna take it to another level, especially on Sundays. Whatever I'm cooking for dinner on Sundays, I will go in there and I'll cook my dinner. I'll get my dinner started, right? Because that's what I'm gonna cook my family and myself. And in the meantime, while whatever it is that's cooking, I'm cooking for dinner, then I will start my meal prep in the process. So not only am I not taking extra time out of my Sunday to meal prep, I'm meal prepping and cooking dinner all at the same time. So I might spend a little bit of extra time in the kitchen than I normally would cooking dinner, but I am multitasking and I'm getting my lunches ready at the same time. Okay, so you figure out ways that you can simplify your life by doing multiple things at one time. Okay, so multitask. Put multitask in the comments if you're watching and you're actually able, not if you're driving. Don't do it if you're driving. So multitask, don't overcomplicate it. I already talked about this a little bit, but guys, we overcomplicate everything in life. All the things we do, and it's the society. I really blame it on the society we live in, all the things out there with the 20,000 different opinions of what diet works, what diet doesn't, what recipe works, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Like if you consume yourself with all the information in today's world and society and all over social media, you're gonna be so information overloaded that you're gonna be even more confused, right? So just don't overcomplicate the process. Next one is don't strive for perfection. Okay, perfectionist, I'm talking to you right now. Don't overcomplicate the process and don't strive for perfection are two of my biggest. These are more mindset tips than anything. If you are striving to have the perfect meals, the perfect, like, oh my gosh, I can't have that because there might be 1 gram of something in it. If you can cook everything fresh, that's always going to be your best route. Like get your fresh veggies, get your fresh meats, get your fresh everything. That's always going to be your healthiest route. You have so much more control of what you're putting in your food when you cook everything fresh. However, I'm also a realist and know that time is typically limited for most people. And for those of you that are like me and don't like to cook, don't strive for perfection. And what do I mean by that? Like go find some simpler ways that they may not be the healthiest option in the world, but they're also way better than what you're doing now. When I say perfection, I mean more like, okay, get the Uncle Ben's rice that you can rip open and put 90 seconds in the microwave, split it up into 4, and there is your 4 servings of rice, right? Like, instead of having to go through the whole longer process of cooking, right? But that's what your quick cooker, Instapot, crock pot, and different tools, which I'm going to talk about in a second too, will come into play. Don't strive for perfection either when it comes to, even when it comes to like tracking your food. We set goals with the people that we go through, the ladies, and even gentlemen that are going through programs with us. But I really highly suggest don't stress over trying to make it perfect. It's not going to ever match up 100% perfect, just doesn't. I have my own meal plan that my coach has given me that I follow, and it never matches exactly whenever I go to track it. So striving for perfection is going to add so much extra unneeded stress on you that you don't need. So give yourself a little bit of grace. That's massive. Here's another one. When you go to meal prep, don't choose foods that you know you hate. How many of you guys do this? I see a lot of people like trying to just stuff something down their throat because they know it's healthy. Don't do that to yourself. You're gonna make this journey really miserable. You're gonna make it suck, and you're gonna make yourself feel so restricted to the point where you give up. The worst thing you can do is cook foods that you know already you don't like and that you hate. The journey of getting healthy should not be miserable, okay? So don't cook and attempt foods that you know you hate. Recipes. I know I'm talking about a lot of things, you guys, here, so drop questions if you have any below. I want to talk a little bit about recipes and then a couple tools, and I'm going to give you some suggestions on what exactly you can meal prep. When it comes to recipes, look for recipes that are simple. How many of you guys have gone and picked out a recipe for something, whether it's on Pinterest or whatever, wherever you're searching for recipes, and you read it and you're like, what? This is supposed to be chili. It's like, why is it so complicated? So maybe skip that recipe and go find another one. When you're searching recipe, Pinterest is a really great place to go find a bunch of healthy recipes. I love it. Sometimes I'll go there. There's so many different ways to cook chili, or I'm just using chili as an example. But look for the recipes that have like 4 to 5 ingredients. Look for the ones that are simple. Look for the ones that you can actually read and that sounds, hey, that's doable. I can totally do it. And it sounds good. Right? So when you go to gather recipes, if you're bored with your food, I highly suggest maybe trying one new recipe a week. So go to Pinterest, or there's so many places you are happy to share. If you guys got good recipes, share them below. There's a lot in the unit section as well too. Those going through our detox program right now have some really good, simple, and yummy recipes. I'm enjoying the heck out of them as well too. So gather recipes though, but look for some that are simple and like 4 to 5 recipes. That's going to help your life a little bit better. I already talked about this a little bit, but use some tools that will help simplify your life. You guys, tools when it comes to meal prepping is going to be really helpful. If there's any specific tools that you use, drop them below. I'd love to share. I already said this, but I use the Pampered Chef Quick Cooker. My girl Jamie Johnson's using this group. She's freaking phenomenal. She hooked me up with one. And it's the best thing ever. You can cook rice, you can cook eggs, you can cook pasta, you can cook chicken, you can cook anything. My biggest and favorite part about that is you don't have to fill your meat. How many of you guys can totally relate to this? I used to I had in my mind I needed to cook chicken, I needed to cook all this, and I would always forget to thaw it out. So I'm like, dang it, plan B, what am I gonna make now? So I love the Quick Cooker because I can literally grab the chicken out of the freezer, frozen, and put it in my Quick Cooker, put the stuff in it, turn my little knob to chicken, and hit the start button. In 30 minutes, I have my favorite chicken that I meal prep, right? So tools to simplify your life are gonna be so much better. The Quick Cooker, like I said, that's what I use. Instapot, I believe. I'm not as familiar with the Instapot, but I'm pretty sure like you can do a lot of the same things with that. A rice cooker, like same thing. I don't know about the Instapot, but I know you can cook rice in the Quick Cooker as well too. Or literally, like I still use my old school rice cooker that I bought for like $15 at Walmart. I will throw my quinoa in there with some water and let it cook while my Quick Cooker is cooking my chicken. So tools are gonna be some of your best thing. Crock pots, all of these things, you guys, can help you prep and not have to spend hours in the kitchen. So think smarter, not harder, right? And so ideas for prepping. Okay, so one of the biggest questions a lot of you guys had, well, what am I supposed to cook? What am I supposed to, like, all these tips are great, Angela, but again, tell me what I'm supposed to actually prep. So at the beginning of this, I talked about your meals needing to be balanced, right? You need to have your balanced meal consisting of a protein, a healthy fat, a healthy carb, and also some greens. You always want greens, especially in your bigger meals. At least lunch and dinner, get some greens. Put greens in the comments if you're able to type out the word greens, right? Like, we need greens, you guys. It's part of our healthy, the nutrients that we need in our body, the fiber, all the stuff. But so think balanced first. Whenever I'm going into meal prep, my first thing that I come to think about is, what protein am I going to make, right? Because you want protein in every single one of your meals, even your snacks. Your snacks tend to be a little less protein, but you want higher protein in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then a little bit in your snacks as well too. Everybody's different. Your body's different. I can't tell you specifically as a broad person, like everybody in here, listen, this is how many grams of protein you need. I can't say that. I don't even want to throw out a number, because everybody's different depending on how much you weigh, what is your muscle mass, what is your body fat percentage, all the things, what is your goals, what are your struggles. Like, there's so many factors. But my first thing I always think of when I'm going to meal prep, what protein am I going to make? Start with protein, you guys, because it's one thing that we tend to not get enough of anyway as women. And it's one of the macros I focus on first in anyone in our coaching programs. Protein. What is protein? Okay, that can be your chicken, turkey, fish, steak, lean ground beef if you're doing red meat. If you're someone like that's not doing red meat, or not red meat, and that you're not doing like animal protein, like there's a lot of vegan proteins as well too. There's a lot of vegetarian proteins. The key is whatever lifestyle you're currently eating, think, what protein am I going to eat? Okay. And then start working on cooking that. My favorite thing to do is a salsa chicken in my quick cooker. And what do I do with that? It's so easy, you guys. If I can do this, so can you. I get my quick cooker. I take the lid off. I throw however many chicken breasts in there, 3 or 4. And then I put 1 can of Rotel. I like extra tomatoes, so I put 1 can of Rotel, 1 can of like diced tomatoes. And then I put about a cup of bone broth. And then some salt and pepper, and that's it. And then I literally, you guys, I put the lid on and I turn it on, and 30 minutes, my chicken's done. Okay, that's one of my favorite and quickest ways when I'm meal prepping a protein. And you can also do the same thing in the crock pot. If you don't have an Instapot or quick cooker, crock pot, same thing. You guys, same exact thing you can do in the crock pot. It's just going to take longer to cook, which is all good. Start it in the morning on a Sunday. Throw your chicken in there before church or whatever you do on Sundays. Let it cook all day. And bam, you have some really soft, moist, yummy tasting chicken for the week. Okay, I don't personally meal prep my chicken in the oven, used to, and it gets really dry. And so I don't personally do that. I don't usually cook my chicken for meal prepping unless it's in the quick cooker or the crock pot, because it just tastes so much better to me personally. So that's one of my favorites, protein chicken, salsa chicken, like I said. You can also do ground turkey. I use ground turkey a lot. So you guys, you can get a pound of ground turkey and ground it all. Ground the entire pound. Put whatever seasonings on it you want. I know the women in our detox program, that's my favorite recipe. It's a citrus turkey. It's the bomb. And it just gives it nice and good flavor. But the key to what I'm saying here is, if you do ground turkey, ground the entire pound, but then cut that into 4 servings. And there's 4 days worth of ground turkey. There's you a protein right there that you can use for your lunches. Okay, those are my 2 favorite. I do a lot of chicken and turkey personally, or fish. If I do fish, the fish I'll bake, obviously. I'll put whatever seasoning. I usually do fish. This is how I cook my fish, y'all. It's crazy simple. I do the same thing with my tilapia as I do my salmon. All I do is I melt a little bit of coconut oil, and I spread my coconut oil on my fish. I love lemon pepper, so all I do is sprinkle lemon pepper on my fish, and then I bake it. I usually put it about 375 for about 20-25 minutes, depending on how flaky you like your fish. That's it. I meal prep that for lunches sometimes. We cook salmon more fresh for dinner than I do. But those are some protein ideas, okay? Veggies. Here's my favorite part about veggies. I get the steamable, You can go to Walmart, you guys. Talking about shopping on a budget, you can go to Walmart, or even I was at Brookshire's today, up the road, or not today, yesterday. You can get bags of all the different frozen vegetables, like 10 for $10, y'all. Y'all can get green beans, green peas. You can get edamame. You can get asparagus. You can get all the greens, all the good greens, the broccoli. I just get the steamable and I throw it in the microwave for 5 minutes and my veggies are done. That's as easy as that gets. That's all I do. When it comes to carbs, okay, we got it now. Also, let's talk about our healthy carbs. I already talked about this a little bit, but if you have a rice cooker or one of those quick cookers, you can make your rice in there. You make a whole bunch. Once it's cooked, measure out. I usually do 1/4 of a cup as a serving, maybe 1/2 a cup at most. Again, this depends on the person. And then that's my serving for my lunches. Okay, so carb can either be a rice, quinoa, cook them the same way. Quick cooker, Instapot, even better. Get the Uncle Ben's. It's going to have a little bit more sodium than it would if you were making it fresh, but a little bit's not going to hurt. Remember that. Not perfection. We're looking to be better than we were yesterday. We're not looking for perfection. Okay, so you can even get the Uncle Ben's rice. Get the non-flavored. When you add the flavor, that's where the sodium goes through the roof. Okay, but you can get the regular, like brown rice. Rip that sucker open. Microwave it for 90 seconds. Cut that little package into 4, and there's 4 days worth of rice. Y'all, it took 90 seconds to cook rice. And those are some of the easiest. And then the last one is, well, those are healthy carbs. My favorite carb too lately, I love sweet potatoes. If you love sweet potatoes, go to the produce section. You can get sweet potatoes with a plastic wrap already on them. That's how I've been doing mine. And then when I get ready to eat, I throw it in the microwave, put it on for 7 minutes. Bam, I have a baked sweet potato. I like them without anything on it, but you can put some things on it if you want to. Just go easy. Sprinkle some cinnamon on there, maybe some low-fat butter. But sweet potatoes already in the wrap is some of my favorite way I like to get my carbs quick. So again, you guys, there's ways to meal prep simple without overdoing it. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to spend hours in the kitchen. And you can eat healthier than you are now and on a budget. There's another video I did in here where I grocery shopped at Aldi's on a budget. Go check it out. It's in the unit section. And you'll see where I shopped on a budget, and then I shared some meal prepping stuff as well too. So anyway, I hope you got some value from this. My biggest thing is multitask. The last tip I forgot to share. If you're cooking dinner fresh, get recipes or do things and cook extra. Cook extra at dinner. One of the best things that you can do to also save some time is cook extra dinner, double or triple the recipe, and then put some of it in a Tupperware, and bam, there's your lunch for the next day. Okay, but obviously cook some healthier options. I know that was a lot of information, so questions, ask below. Meal prepping is going to set you up for success. Meal prepping is also going to help you reduce stress. If you live stressed out already, the last thing you want to do is not prepare for success by not meal prepping. And then guess what happens? You're stressing yourself out at lunch and dinner and snack time because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to eat. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to lose weight and I don't know what I'm going to eat. So I got to go here, got to go there. Set yourself up for success by prepping. And if you're still overwhelmed by prepping, do one thing at a time. One meal. Prep that and carry and eat it that week, and then see how amazing you feel and how much less stress you have because you actually prepared. So that's all I got, you guys. Again, if you have questions, drop them below. My inbox is always open. Definitely get in there. And then you can also schedule a time with me. There's a link above. If you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this on my own. I'm stuck. I'm sick and tired of being stuck though, and I need help. Schedule a time. You and I can get on a call, a free chat, figure out maybe if we have something that could fit into your world and your life to help you. Or if not, shoot you in the right direction to maybe something that will. I love it, son. You like listening to audiobooks. I cannot talk today. Doing kitchen stuff. Yeah, multitasking like crazy is one of the biggest and best things you can do. So that's all I got, you guys. Y'all have an amazing day. A happy Thursday, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.